Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the presentation by George McLean. George has been a good friend of mine for many years, and has been we have worked together on projects. He has been the coordinator for the president of the Okinawa Jalt conference, and he has been extremely involved in in Google apps. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome George. Take it away.
Thank you, David. I'll start by sharing my screen, and I hope this flips through very well. To us to start with, but hopefully a presentation now. Can we see a presentation?
No.
Yes? No?
No.
No. Okay. So with that in mind, I guess my apologies for not really having a great grasp of this format that is new to me, this platform. But okay, we'll try that again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, David. How's that? No.
No.
Right. Let's try sharing again.
Are you sharing the screen, or are you sharing a tab?
I'm sharing a tab within the screen, I guess. I don't know. I'm sharing the presentation in its presentation mode, but it's not there, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to send me the link? Send me the link, and I can open it here. Maybe?
Well, it's basically it's a PowerPoint. And this is kind of interactive. So what I'll do instead is I'm just going to move the PowerPoint above, and I won't use presentation mode. I'll just put it in full screen with the hopes that everyone can see this. I believe they will be able to. I hope. And let's try that. Screen 2. I'm using a monitor and a computer. Screen 2. There we are, right? And can we see this now?
No.
A PowerPoint. Nothing.
No.
So
there we go.
There. Yes.
Okay, there.
Yes.
That was my fault.
Well, nobody's fault.
Go ahead.
It's an interesting format. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay. So just an overview of what I'd like to do today is to explain what I mean by transparency and feedback. So I'll explain e-syllabi, forms, and posting grades. Then I'll have participants sign up, and then actually go through kind of a roll your sleeves up and actually do it, like input and build a grade sheet. So with that in mind, I'd like to make a note that my friend and colleague David Kluge, who I've collaborated with extensively, will be participating in this session. He'll jump in and hopefully be your advocate if there's something that's not clear. Also, I'd like to say that this presentation was made possible with assistance from the Japanese Society for the Promotion of Science Research grants numbers. I'm not going to read the numbers, but they're there. Special thanks to the organizers of this event. Steve McGuire, you've been amazing. Nate, you've been fantastic. Also, thank you so much. And then double thanks to my wife and son, who vacated the premises about 5 minutes ago because it was getting too loud. All right, so to start with some terms, and these are adapted terms. These are my terms, really. They don't quite fall into any particular established definition, but as far as feedback goes, I think of it as information from teacher, peers, self, and feedback in quantitative as well as quantitative and or qualitative form that provides feedback about how well a student has demonstrated their comprehension of the knowledge required to complete a given assignment or project. And the way it's done, it's not formative. It's got a few different aspects to it. As far as transparency, what I mean is information that allows students to anticipate what sort of assignments they can expect in a given course at the very beginning, even before they sign up for the course. And then once they've signed up for the course, when they'll occur. And also it provides feedback soon after they've completed assignments that allows them to gauge their performance on a given assignment, and then also look at their overall progress in a given course. So my rationale is fairly simple. I would recommend to everyone the APA, American Psychological Association's Learner-Centered Principles. And I think today what we're looking at most is the effects of motivation on effort. So if you know what your results are and how you've done on something and you've received feedback about it, then it helps to be better. It should be a motivating thing that is, it makes clear what needs to be done. Again, transparency. And then what you can do to be better next time, and hopefully includes a reflective learning component as well. So an overview of what we're going to do today. I'd like to look at an e-syllabus that starts before the gates even open, explaining to students what they're expected to do in a given course, and then demonstrates what sort of assignments they're going to get. Then I'd like to explain how this is done with an overview of forms, and then get into the really main part of this, which is about building a grade sheet according to your own interests, or your own, well, not interest, but your own context, that will explain to students and possibly parents for people who are in elementary situations or junior high school situations, how they are doing. And I will demonstrate that using mobile, a normal sheet, spreadsheet, as well as a mobile version. I'm then going to distribute a sign-up sheet to participants where we're going to start to actually build on our own. I'll explain adding people to a shared drive, and then actually we'll start to build the grade sheet, and if there's any time left, further discussion. So at this point, I'm going to exit. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's look at, first of all, a grade sheet that is posted. Here's the real one, okay? And this is going on now. This is a course in progress, and there's a couple things that I'll point out to you. The first one, and the most fundamental aspect of this, which is really easy to do, is to get students to provide a secret name. Instead of using their name and their student number, if you want to be able to post things regularly that allows students to see their progress in a course throughout the course, then you need something like a secret name if you're going to do it in bulk, which is much quicker than doing it on a student-by-student basis. So their overall progress in a course, you can see here, people have, in column A, they've chosen.
I'm just checking in. David, do you see the screen here? You see
Yes.
the spreadsheet? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And I can see it on YouTube too. So thanks, Steve. I appreciate you checking in to make sure that it's good. So in column A here, we have basically a student name, and that is just absolutely fundamental. And then you'll notice columns B and C are missing, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit later. But basically, you can hide columns and then share something in a view only, right? And if you're sharing it, depending on the security, you can say, all right, I'm going to make this only view only, right? Anyone with the link can view, and that's it. And then you can share it, which is what we'll do. And where do you share it? Well, I mean, you can share it in any number of ways, but basically, once you share it that way and give students a link, they can look at it just as you see it right now, and they can see their overall progress in a course. So what do I mean by overall progress? Well, first, I suppose, would be what are the assignments, which is what you can see in column 2, which there's, my apologies, there's a slight delay between the platform and YouTube. So now you can see highlighted row 2. And in row 2, we have a series of assignments that are linked so that students can actually just go in there and click on the link and see the assignment. And if they haven't done it, they can do it. Row 1 gives them their points values for that. What else we have? I'll come back to this in a second, but so this is the overall view of what the grade sheet looks like. But let's go back to the beginning. Even before you start to give grades to students, what you want to have is probably a syllabus that's carefully contrived, that looks at everything, may meet your organizational goals. In my case, this is a syllabus that is published on my university webpage, the syllabus format. This is what students get to see before they sign up for a course, when it is, who it is, and various requirements. But so with Google Workspace, one of the amazing things that we can do is we can include a link that links to assignments. So I post this and I give them a good idea of what their assignments are going to look like before they even sign up for the course. So by clicking on that, I link to a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet that lists the assignments week by week that they're required to do. In this particular case, it's a presentation course. So basically, there are assignments, they're all homework, and then they have to use that to build presentations, and they're presenting pretty much throughout the whole course. That's what the course is. So in a sense, it's a flipped sort of situation, flipped learning, where students can look at a given assignment before they even sign up for the course, look at what they have to do in terms of, well, the reading assignment, look at questions that will be asked of them ahead of time. And of course, once they get into the course, they can do this too. I mean, if they want to do everything ahead of time, they can do that as well. But they have this available right from the syllabus link. The brain pop I'm not going to open because it's not working very well today, but you can see essentially there's okay, so what is your work going to be like other than what you're doing in class? This is what it's going to look like. There's a policy explained in terms of late grades, etc. One of the things that I'd like to say, I mean, I know a lot of our GEG people are non-tertiary. They're teaching in elementary, junior high, high school, but certainly in university, this sort of communication, this sort of transparency is really important from an andragogical pedagogical perspective, andragogy, but also because we only meet once a week for 90 minutes. So to be crystal clear about a lot of this stuff. And then once again, in universities, grades are due, classes finish, grades are due a month later. So as someone that has a lot of things to do during that month where I'm not teaching, I really need to know that students are going to submit things on time, that they're not going to be like begging me 1 month after the class or 1 week after or 2 weeks after the class has finished sending me assignments. So making a policy clear about what happens with late assignments and setting a deadline is really, really important. That's a communication and transparency aspect of things. So that's kind of what I'm working towards with my syllabi, wherever possible, where things are electronic, things that I've developed, or commercial materials that are available. And yeah, I state it twice, and then I break it down several times to make it really abundantly clear what to expect before signing up for a course, and then what needs to be done. So this is before, and then when we get into once someone's enrolled in a class, again, what we have are links all the way along with grades as people go. So how does this look in a mobile format? It works as well. And that's really important in a tertiary situation where students are often, depending on the university, just working with a phone, a tablet, that sort of thing. So, I mean, and it's also part of the anywhere, anytime philosophy that anytime students can look at their grades and they can check their grades. So this is an example of what it looks like on a mobile format. Now, how they would access that would be using Google Communities, for example. I post in community. I use communities with any school that has a Google School. We have basically the grades are here is pinned to the top of the community. Students can click on the link and check their grade at any given time. If you're just using a spreadsheet, just make sure that it's a commonly used spreadsheet, which is also something I do, where I provide a link within a spreadsheet, and that's the only shared resource in the absence of Google School or anything else like that. So let's have a look at what it looks like in a mobile context. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, we have, again, A points. They can see their secret names, and they can look according to their secret names. They can see in row 2 the assignments and links, active links to the assignments. They can see the points to be awarded for each assignment. They can scroll through. It's frozen so that even on a small mobile screen, you can still, if you scroll to your name, you can have a look all the way across all of your assignments. If they're done or not done, you can compare your results. With other members of the class. You can see the red is for incomplete or late assignments. The assignment policy is clearly stated, and there's a date for deadline. Any particular acronyms used are defined. And so any student can go back and look through. So for example, in the case of row 3 instant, he's missing this particular assignment, he can just click on the link, open it up, and do it. So where he or she is, could be at a bus stop, could be at a cafe waiting to meet a friend, anywhere, they can open it up and answer it. And that includes, fairly sophisticated stuff. Like it could be even listening exercises, anything. You can do this with forms. So we'll maybe explain that a little bit more going forward. But for now, what I'd like to go forward with is to explain about what you do with a particular assignment. So I'm gonna get a form going here. And so with a form, to start with, if you want to be able to get this information, what you need to do is to be sure that the form is set as a quiz. So there's a gear beside the send button. There's a gear. Sorry, there's some delay between the platform and my screen, so I'm trying to follow both and figure that out. But basically here, and then also size, there's a sizing issue going on here. But so I've clicked the gear beside save, and on the far right, I can choose to make it a quiz. If I click on quizzes, I need to slide the button across to make this quiz at the top. And then I can decide about releasing grades, etc. So my policy, again, when it comes to homework, especially, I say basically learn from your mistakes. And this is something that I really like that forms can do, is that instead of saying it's wrong or right, it's a question of learning from your mistakes. So I say to my students, you can submit as many times as you want. And so, yeah, that's something that basically they get their grade, and then you can allow for, in the presentations, pardon me, in the general, you can either limit people to one response in the general tab, or you can, I think it's ticked automatically, or you can say no, they can submit as many times as they want. So basically, I allow my students to submit as many times as they want, and I stress to them, learn from your mistakes, and they can do that as long as the submission is open, which comes back to a deadline policy, right? Deadline policy being basically get it in before the deadline. Otherwise, you can't do that. If you submit after the deadline, well, whatever your grade is going to be your grade. And if it's late, it's going to cost you 10%, 20% if it's 2 weeks, etc. So that's something I will leave up to all of you, but this has been my experience that a certain amount of facilitating anxiety does work. Meaning, get it done on time, otherwise there are consequences, and I believe that that's a life lesson that's perhaps more important than any particular thing that we can teach. Okay, so within a form, you can set these things. As I said, from the settings, you can set it as a quiz, and then you're able to give them a certain grade based on that. Actually, they get it automatically. In this case, it's really not a complicated form. This was the first form we used in a very basic first year general education course. However, if we look at question 1, for example,
battery 100%.
Gentlemen, I can't hear you.
Steve, you're okay.
Okay,
George, you're okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so if we look at Form 1, again, here's a basic question, which is coming to YouTube really slowly. Okay, here we go. So here's the question from the text. What I've done with it, now that quiz is enabled, is to require the question. And then when I go to the answer key, I can put in the answer. It can be any different number of things. It could be, multiple choice, or it could be where they have to actually put something in. I've specified the number of points. And then something else is I've allowed some feedback, which is really quite powerful. The feedback, at times you can allow feedback in the form of links. Could be just text. It could be links. It could be even video, right? So you can put that in. In this case, I've put in something about go to and how it is used. And so students who maybe got that wrong can go to a proper definition. It could be far more sophisticated than that. It could be a page with multiple additional exercises to help them to understand a given grammar point, but it's there. Okay, so as far as my overview of forms, that's what my forms look like often enough. Let's get into doing some stuff. Okay. Oh yes, one other thing is, all right, once I have a grade sheet, right? So here are, for example, grades that I might want to post to students. Never post them inside your grade sheet. Make sure it's private. And so that process is fairly easy, but not everybody knows it. There's an arrow in a given tab where you can choose copy to. You can make a new spreadsheet, or you can copy to an existing spreadsheet. So my grades posting is a multiple week effort. It starts at a given rate, a given date. So for example, the first time I published grades in this particular class was June 22nd. I then posted June 28th, and I'll keep posting until the end of the year, until the final deadline. And then that's the end. And so there will be probably 6 iterations of their grade sheet, one every week, depending on what they've done. However, I can't update everything. What gets updated is the new stuff and stuff that is 1 or 2 weeks late. If it's beyond 2 weeks late, it just gets to be too much to update it over and over and over again. Maybe in an elementary, as I said, non-tertiary circumstance, or only if you have a few students. I have 300 students. And if you're talking about 300 students times, let's say, 20 assignments, tabbing through that and updating it weekly is going to be, it will take up all your time. So again, the need for a policy, the need to impress on students to submit their stuff on a timely basis so that they receive the feedback that they need and they know how they're doing in their course. Okay, so let's go from there into actually rolling up our sleeves and doing it, if that's all right. What I have here is basically a sign up for participants, and I thank you really kindly for coming. I'm going to send that inside. Actually, Steve, I'm going to chat it to you. If you could put it in the YouTube link, that would be very, very much appreciated. So inside here, I will chat to you inside StreamYard. And if you could put that on the YouTube page, basically here's an example of a sign-up sheet. Okay, so this particular sign-up sheet is for people, as I said, who want to try to build a grade book. And we'll go through the basics of that in the next little while. And you'll be left with something that really does that. So first of all, please just, if you could put in your name. I don't think I made it required. So if you're really shy, you don't have to. Your secret name, your Gmail address, which I will keep part of it. And if you want me to delete it afterwards, please let me know. Pardon me. Thank you. So I'll wait just a short time on that. But as I'm doing that, again, the grade sheet, instead of having a bunch of sheets, working with just tabs inside a sheet is very helpful for quick access to the information you want. So I have here a dummy sheet with my students' names redacted, but it is, it's got information on all their assignments here. And so what I'd like to do with this sheet that you're putting your names in with now, what I'm going to do is go on that sheet. I'm going to tie it to the dummy grade sheet. So first I have to click on responses above. I click on responses, and in the top right corner, there's an icon for creating a spreadsheet. So if I click on that, I can choose between an existing spreadsheet or making a new spreadsheet. In this case, I'm going to click on select existing spreadsheet. And that's going to give me a few options. And this is the one I'm working with now, our dummy data sheet. So I'll spare you the details of it, other than all I had to do was click on it. And then I have people's names, which I don't want to share with you, really. So I'll quickly scroll down, but I've got your names. What I'm going to do is add you to our shared drive. So to do that, first, I guess, to get around the names thing, I'm going to stop my share for a second and just pray it comes back. And I will add all of you to this dummy data sheet that, given our time, you might not have all the time I'd like to explain this to you, but actually, I'm not going to add you to the dummy data sheet. I'm just going to add you to a shared drive. So I'm using your email addresses. And again, I'll get out of here and start the share again. I hope. Okay, and it's super nasty in there. I created a gag, APAC gag share drive here. And And so what I'm going to do now is manage members and add everyone who signed up. It's going to caution me that it's outside. I've made you content managers, so please don't delete anything. There are only 2 sheets inside the drive right now. One is the dummy data, and I ask that you don't input anything there. And the other one is the participants worksheet. Please copy that. So just with a right click, and then choose make a copy, and then maybe put your secret name or your name, whatever you like. But yeah, copy the participants worksheet and just I'll leave it in there for now. You can drag it when you're ready. If you know it's yours, you can drag it into your drive and put it wherever your heart desires afterwards as a takeaway from this session. So I'm just going to wait a while for you guys to do that, and then I'm going to start doing my thing here, which is explaining how to do it. That will require you to have the dummy data sheet open so you can go in and copy some information. But if you want to just passively observe, what I've done is in the dummy data sheet, I have a working example. So I've taken all this stuff that I input and I've wiped it. So it's not there anymore. And I'll explain step by step how to put that stuff in, how to get it in there. Okay, so we'll wait just a moment to see. Those of you, I guess, yeah. So Geg Nagoya, the forms, the link is posted inside of YouTube, and you should be able to get in there and make your own copy as you like of the participant worksheet only. The other thing to do would be to open the dummy data, and I'll give this just about another minute before I start again.
George?
Yes?
Steve, are you able to access the drive?
I've given everybody permission. I have 7 participants in here. They all have permission to access to the shared drive. As long as they're using Google, they have access. As content managers, which means they can do pretty much everything. But it does need to be a Google address or a Google School enabled address. If it's not a Google address, it's not going to work. David, can you not get in there?
No, I cannot.
Okay. So one of the problems with the top level of a shared drive is you can't send a link. If I created something inside that, I could. So why don't I? If you could, you can click on basically the sign up sheet, the sign up sheet here. Which let me just grab again. Pardon me. Grab again the sign up part of it. Wow, that's weird how small things get in here. And it's been posted to Google, but again, it's inside StreamYard. Once more, David, fresh and new there. Okay, so this link takes you to a sign up sheet.
Yes.
Okay, and once you've
I did
signed
that.
up, okay, I got your mail address, etc. Pardon me, and based on that, what I did is copied your mail addresses into the shared drive, which means we have 7 people, members of this shared drive, who should be able to access it as
But
long as
Dave,
they're using Gmail addresses. Yep.
but may I
Yep.
ask, do you have a link for us to get to the shared drive? I'm afraid I'm not following where that link to the drive itself is.
Okay. So basically what you need to do, thank you. That's just such a good question. What you need to do is just go to your Gmail now and open Drive. I think I missed a step there. Pardon me. It is a fairly complicated process. But if you go to your Gmail and with the application launcher, you launch Drive, you'll see now you have, of course, my drive, but you now have a shared drive as well.
Yes.
And in that shared drive, you should
Yep.
have GEG drive.
Got
And
it.
thank you so much for your questions, guys. That really, really helps.
And now what do you want us to do?
Okay, so now make a copy of the participants worksheet. Just right click on the participants worksheet and then choose make a copy. Okay, so once you have a copy, it's your own copy, and we can proceed to build, although we're looking at 18 minutes more, so I don't know how much we're going to get to build. Maybe this needed to be a little bit longer, but well done, participants who've been able to do that. It is a process that I usually explain over about the first 90 minutes of any given course. Hopefully face-to-face, a lot easier.
Now what would you like us to do with this copy of the
Okay,
participant worksheet?
so this is yours, and what I'd like you to do is just watch what I'm going to do next. Okay, inside our shared drive, there is a file called dummy data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So please open that, and you get a look at everything. I'm going to work inside this one, but I'm going to show you what to do. Okay, so once again, one of the things that's really tough, and I can see people coming in here. I see Mumiwan Arshad. Thank you. David, you're in there. Great. Okay, so once you're in, you can basically select anything that's there. And what I'd like you to do is select the secret name tab. You can see there's a number of tabs along the bottom. Select the secret name tab. And then you choose copy to. If you use spreadsheets at all, I'm sure you've been frustrated if you try to copy from one spreadsheet to another. It doesn't work very well. But if you copy this way by choosing a tab and you choose an existing spreadsheet, what you want to do is copy to your sheet. So you get basically, when you decide to copy an existing spreadsheet, you get a lovely menu that's actually quite helpful if you're familiar with kind of root drive type directories. But in this case, you're going to choose share drive, which is where our files are. And if you choose share drive, I have a bunch of them. I don't know if you do or not, but you want to go to your gag and then choose yours. Which one is yours? And geez, I think for this, we need a better name for the actual copies, which would have been, okay, something I'll do quickly because there's not a lot of time. So Mumi, I'm going to rename you 1. Okay. Steve, I'm going to rename you 2. Mitrina, I'm going to rename you 3. David, you're 4. So this is so that you can copy your stuff, which you need to be able to do. And then who else is in there? Me. Oh, that's me. That isn't me. That's definitely not me. But anyways. Okay. So to come back to the dummy data, again, what we're going to do is take the secret name information, and we're going to click on the inverted triangle that allows us to choose copy to and existing spreadsheet. This gives us kind of something between a thumbnail and a root directory, but what you need to do is choose the shared drives. Okay, once you've chosen the shared drives, you can find our gag again. And you guys have all been renamed. Ooh, things are slow. Often been my frustration with some programs that it's slow, but this is nutty. Okay, well, you can, I guess at this point in time, I'm looking at our time and I'm thinking that, yeah, we need more time together. We really don't spend enough time together. So I'm going to try that again. And I see that, yeah, somehow between the two applications, that renaming process is still on number 1 as far as having renamed everyone. So this is, if you can imagine this frustration times umpteen, any of the Google Workspace competitors are much slower to do things. But teaching online, I haven't had this problem. I think that perhaps the additional sort of, the addition of it's a new platform plus YouTube, etc., has kind of delayed this. But so just, I guess I would like to come back to some fundamental things here because we don't have enough time. And you have my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. But so the fundamentals that I'd like you to take away from this is that it's possible to do just so much to give students and even indeed parents a lot of information that they need to know about how to succeed by getting them their grades really quickly, by showing them where they can do the stuff if they can't do it, hopefully by making it available on multiple sort of device platforms, so computer or tablet or phone. And that's a question of just being able to include links and let people know whether you got their assignment or not, giving them good feedback inside those assignments, hopefully, getting it to them in a timely manner, giving them an overall idea of how they stand as opposed to other members of the class. And then, also watching for yourself as well as for students, the submission rate. So to know what's the submission rate. This is looking kind of scary right now on this one. I don't know why. Shouldn't be that bad. Let me see if I've got it updated. Yeah, I've got the number of submissions updated. So that should be okay. And not looking good. But then again, the particular average for this class is also not looking great. 10 assignments. We have 10 assignments, yeah. And we have, 30 students. Indeed. So yeah, that's quite right. But if we look at it, that doesn't surprise me, because basically we're talking about between S, which is over 90, and A, which is over 80. You're talking about 50% of the class, and then another 14 at B, and then a bunch of people that just are not submitting their work. And so this is often a problem in tertiary education that I'm trying to overcome with this. But as I said, this is a first semester online education example with a non kind of English major school. It's actually a University of Arts, which I think most of the students are just amazing in many ways, but English is not their focus. So yeah, it looks like this. But especially in those sort of situations, I like to feel like I gave them every single chance to do the work to get ahead. So this to me has been a really good solution by being very transparent and clear about what's expected, where they have to go to do what, and just when. Also make it all really clear. So one final thing that I'd like to discuss about for non-tertiary students, like tertiary educators, people who are maybe teaching school where they're not answering necessarily to their students so much as to perhaps parents. There is also a query function for a lot of this stuff. So just let me scroll through quickly. Like these are the results for forms, right? And if you keep them inside your grade book, you keep for each assignment. It's of course it's not going to be everything that you're doing with students, because it's not as interactive as one would hope, especially if you're meeting them every day or several times a week. But with a query function, what you can do is leverage the timestamp aspect of forms. So is the student doing what they're being asked to do on time? And so, a simple query with their name, the timestamp, and their score is something that could easily be created inside a sheet like this, where you have that for every particular student. And it wouldn't make for a lot of work. What it would do is make for a lot of accountability, where you're able to easily access a lot of data that explains, in the case of perhaps students coming to a teacher and saying, well, what's wrong with my kid? My kid's a nice kid, does everything that I asked them to do. To explain that perhaps that's not always the case at school. And give examples of, well, these assignments were due at a certain time, or they were done during the day, and it just, your person didn't do it. So that's accountability, transparency, again. And it's not something that I would ever advocate using as a hammer over someone's head, but it's really, I mean, to explain the situation and to be very clear that you are doing everything you can to make things work for all concerned. So at this point in time, I'm sorry, we're getting kind of late in the game, but once again, do we have perhaps a short time for taking questions, getting some feedback?
Yes, if you have questions, please put them in the chat.
So, George, I'm not sure if you're following the YouTube chat or not from Wanda Armis Banti Assad. We have a comment that this is much more convenient instead of having many forms for a course at the same time, and so students will be more aware of their performance throughout the semester. So that's a very positive response. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nor. Thank you. I would say actually there are many forms, but there's only one sheet. Is the thing is to keep it in one sheet. But absolutely, it makes life a lot easier. Thank you. Anything else?
George, would it be? This is probably really a basic question, but would
Sure.
it be possible to have in one book the sheets for each student, so that you transfer to just a sheet for each student, and then the student would have access to his or her own sheet only?
So that's something that I think is really important. That's possible to build, and I touched on that at the end for, as I said, for especially for our non-tertiary educators, that with the query function, that's something that you could harvest from. You'd have to put that in your original grade sheet, so you would have a lot of tabs. But then again, you could share those tabs individually, like with parents or something like that. You could update them, or with students. Yeah, you could do it. So it's possible. What I recommend, though, is at least in a tertiary situation, is to bring that up and to maybe take about 5 minutes at the end of each class and remind students, okay, here is the grade for, here is the link for where you can find your grades. If you have any questions, please ask. And usually I'm able to handle, like, I mean, where students are asking, oh, Sensei, did you get my grade? And I am able to say yes. Oh, but you gave me a 4 instead of a 5, and I can say, well, here's the timestamp. You submitted it late. I'm sorry. Let's please submit on time next time.
Thank you.
I'm just having a quick look through our participants in the YouTube. I don't see anything. Again, I'd like to thank you for listening. I wish that we'd had more chance to actually dig around and do this together, perhaps at a later date. I'd also like to thank the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science. And I'd like to invite you, if you're interested. We have an event coming up. Okinawa JALT has an event on the 25th of July of this month coming up. And here are the links for it, for our website and for the call for papers. Should be quite exciting. We have a number of advanced, highly respected people in the field of English language teaching.
George?
Presenting.
George,
Yes,
can you put the the Okinawa JALT website and the summer CFP into so that Steve can put it in the
indeed.
So that they can have those two links?
Okay, I
Good
will.
idea.
Yes. Where are we? Oh, we're here.
Yeah.
Tabs in. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The links for the for Okinawa JALT, which is an excellent and active organization, and for the call for papers for this upcoming conference. The call for papers deadline is in 10 days from now. Is it the 14th?
Indeed, yes.
So we look forward to hearing from you, and thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Steve, for moderating this, and thank you, George.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much, George. Great job.